It's time for sports.
Good morning and welcome to LTCC Sports, your weekly update catching you up with everything sports both nationally and locally. I'm Stephen Dwyer alongside Brendan DeAngelis, and this morning we have highlights from the week's most important games, local sporting updates, including an exclusive look at the MAC tournament up in Albany this weekend. But first, we start with negative news coming out of Syracuse.
The NCAA hit the Syracuse men's basketball team hard on Friday, issuing multiple punishments and bans as a result of a multi-year investigation. The school's athletic program itself initiated the case back in 2007 when it self-reported potential athletic department violations. Violations actually date back to 2001. Syracuse self-reported the violations that the basketball team committed. The violations include academic misconduct, extra benefits, failure to follow drug testing policy, and impermissible booster activity from 2010 to 2012. Academic assistance to 3 basketball players and revised, created, or wrote their assignments. In January of 2012, 2 basketball staff members, one of whom was the mentor from 2010, finished work for an academically ineligible student. A booster also gave 2 players over $8,000 in cash for volunteering at the YMCA. He also gave money to staff members for appearing at YMCA events. NCAA rules state that the supplemental pay must be reported to the university. The basketball team will feel the wrath of the NCAA with 5 years of probation from March 6, 2015 to March 5, 2020. Head coach Jim Boeheim is suspended for the first 9 ACC games of the next season. The team lost 12 scholarships over the next 4 years, and they can only have 2 off-campus recruiters as opposed to 4 until 2017. The team must also vacate all wins that ineligible students played in from 2004 to 2007 and 2010 to 2012. In addition to that, the game that they played in, all ineligible students must pay a fine of $500. The vacated wins come up to a total of 108, which is the most ever taken from a program. This is unfortunate for Boeheim, who needed 34 wins to become the second Division I basketball coach to win 1,000 games.
Back in January, Duke coach Mike Krzyzewski raised eyebrows, dismissing Rashid Suleiman from the team, the first player dismissed in his 35-year career for what he described as repeated struggles to meet team obligations. Then, this week, reports surfaced through the student newspaper, the Duke Chronicle, that Suleiman had been accused of sexual assault by 2 female students last March, and that the athletics department was aware of these accusations over 9 months before the team dismissal from the team. However, Suleiman was never reported officially to authorities, nor as the girls feared backlash from the Blue Devils fan base. Furthermore, a report by Sports Illustrated surfaced on Friday, stating that at this time, Duke will not investigate Suleiman nor these accusations. While this will be a hot topic at the Duke press conferences for the next week, Coach K will be unable to say anything on the matter. FERPA,
I'm not going to be able to answer any questions about it. It's not Bub
the
Butt.
Family
I'm not going to be able to answer.
Education Rights and Protection Act is the federal law that FERPA, the Family Education Rights and Protection Act, is a federal law that protects the privacy of student education records and forbids student employees from commenting on matters pertaining to students. With this in play, don't expect much to come out unless charges are filed against Suleiman.
The Zen master got himself in trouble with just a handful of words. He is a great-looking kid, great prospect. One line was enough to land Knicks president Phil Jackson in hot water after speaking to the Cleveland Plain Dealer about college prospect and Ohio State guard D'Angelo Russell. Russell is an electrifying point guard at 19 points and 5 assists per game and could be an option for the Knicks in the upcoming draft. Jackson's comments on Russell violated the NBA's policy forbidding league officials from making statements on draft-ineligible players, resulting in a fine of an undisclosed amount. Though his comments were brief and seemingly harmless, the NBA's decision was firm, hoping to avoid a slippery slope in front of talking to prospects. This is not the first offense for the Knicks president, as he was fined $25,000 for talking about Derek Fisher when he was still a member of the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Knicks are stumbling through the second half of this season, and it's hard to blame the front office for looking towards the future. However, Jackson and company will have to wait until the season's end to pursue any potential prospects.
After the break, 2 big trades in the NFL and what you need to know in sports. We'll be right back. Welcome back. With the start of NFL free agency just one day away, player movement is on the rise across the league, and two of New York's teams made waves with two blockbuster deals. Last week, the Buffalo Bills agreed to send Kiko Alonso to the Eagles for running back LaShawn McCoy. Then, just a day later, the New York Jets agreed to send a fifth-round pick to the Bears for wideout Brandon Marshall. The moves won't become official until Tuesday, but both will have major implications for the AFC East next season. While the New England Patriots have little resistance in the division in the Brady-Belichick era, the Bills are hoping to shake up the natural order with the acquisitions of new coach Rex Ryan and McCoy, who rushed for over 1,300 yards last season, but only reached the end zone 5 times. McCoy has reportedly already agreed to sign a 5-year, $40 million contract with at least $26 million guaranteed to further improve the offense that ranked 18th last season. The Bills are also expected to acquire quarterback Matt Castle. ESPN Radio's Matt Williamson weighed on how the McCoy will help the Bills.
Overall, this is a good deal for both teams. The Bills, they have E.J. Manuel quarterback, and they don't have this dynamic system where we can hide the quarterback and we have a great line. They need to run the ball. They're going to rebuild an offensive line. McCoy brings another big play threat to that offense, which is much needed. But you also got to think on the defensive side of the ball. I think Rex Ryan looks at his inside linebackers kind of like Chip Kelly does with the running back position, that my scheme is going to get those guys big numbers. I don't need Mike Singletary there. I don't need a great player. And last year they ran a 4-3, and now they're going to a 3-4 where they only need 2 second-level defenders.
While the Jets have yet to solidify their quarterback situation for next season, they did add another weapon for whoever is under center come September by acquiring Marshall. While he is coming off his worst statistical season since his rookie year, Marshall is still just 30 years old and has recorded over 1,000 yards in 7 of his 9 seasons. Williamson spoke on Friday about the impact Marshall will have on the Jets' receiving corps.
So then you look at the Jets, and I assume this means that they will now move on from Harvin, who's also due a huge chunk here soon. I guess you go with Decker and Marshall and, that group, and that's okay. I mean, I think Marshall's a good player still, so I don't have a problem with that. Marshall's cheaper than Harvin, different type receiver, but I'm cool with it from the Jets.
It was a busy week in the sports world, but here's what you need to know. The 4-time Pro Bowler is getting paid. Defensive tackle Ndamukong Suh will become the 5th non-quarterback to receive a contract of at least $100 million when his deal with the Dolphins officially goes through on Tuesday. Kentucky cruised past Florida to complete an undefeated regular season. Kentucky is the 3rd team in the last 15 seasons to outscore opponents by at least 21 points per game entering the conference tournament. The other 2 teams went on to win the NCAA tournament. And Yu Darvish will seek a second opinion before making a decision about Tommy John surgery. The Rangers ace was 10-7 with a 3.20 ERA last season.
After the break, the Nets and Suns both needed wins to stay in the playoff hunt. The Knicks are competitive, the Islanders survive a tough road test, and Duke UNC clash in another great game. We'll be back. Welcome back. The Brooklyn Nets and Phoenix Suns met on Friday night for the New York Times Game of the Week. Both teams are fighting to stay in the playoff race. Let's get to the highlights. Suns versus Nets, both fighting for a playoff spot. Let's get to it. Brandon Knight uses the pick and roll, throws it to Brandon Wright with the alley-oop slam. Wright had 14 points and 8 boards, shooting a perfect 5 for 5 on the night. Suns in transition, but Mason Plumlee steals the ball from behind, and Markel Brown picks up the ball going down the center of the lane and rises up over Alex Len. Brown had 7 points in only 7 minutes. On to the second half of the game here. Deron Williams drives and kicks it out to Bojan Bogdanovic for a 3 to put the Nets up 6 with a minute left in the third quarter. Bledsoe drives to the basket and kicks it to the corner where P.J. Tucker swishes a 3 to decrease the Nets' lead. Brandon Knight picks up the ball and quickly fires to the corner, back to the same corner where Tucker hits again and brings the Sun deficit to 6 points. Bledsoe swings the ball to Markieff Morris, then passing to Marcus Morris, who hits the corner 3, tying the game. Jarrett Jack creates some space with time winding down but can't hit, sending the game to overtime. Free basketball starts off here with Marcus Morris driving to the basket, pulling up and hitting the elbow jumper. Morris had a big game here with 19 points and 7 boards. Brandon Knight shows off his nifty handles, driving in the lane and hitting the short jumper, putting the Suns up 4 with 17.5 seconds left. Knight had 12 points, 7 assists, and 5 rebounds on the night for the Suns. The Suns hold on to win this game 108-100 with a big performance from Eric Bledsoe with 19 points and 10 rebounds.
With the Nets' loss, the Pacers were looking to extend their playoff lead against the Knicks. The Pacers came into the night with a 4-game winning streak, while the Knicks had lost 2 straight. C.J. Watson connected on 4 threes Saturday. Here's one. Second quarter with Indiana up a deuce. Rodney Stuckey off the glass. Rodney Stuckey finished with 17. Andrea Bargnani was balling Saturday night. Here he is with the pump, the fake, and the hammer. Bargnani finished the night with 21. Later in the second quarter, Bargnani again here showing his soft touch from the free throw line extended. We now go to the third quarter where it was David West who was getting involved, hitting the jumper. Boy, you gotta love power forwards with range. However, the night belonged to the Pacers and C.J. Watson. Here's C.J. Watson again, banging home the tray and the foul. With the Knicks down 3, it was that man Bargnani again who was called upon. Bargnani finished the night shooting 10 of 14 from the field. But George Hill and the Pacers proved to be too much. Here's Hill with the right corner pocket 3, bang. The Pacers now have won 5 straight.
2 of the better teams in the NHL faced off Thursday night when the Islanders traveled to Nashville. The Predators were looking for a win as they had lost 4 straight heading into the night. Islanders taking on the Predators with a lot of quick action as Brock Nelson shoots the puck off the goaltender's head and the puck gets away. Yaroslav Halak uses his head in a different way, quickly swiping the puck off the line and out of danger. Halak with the nice save, and clearly the puck was not over the line as he swipes it away with his stick. Shea Weber slaps the puck into the zone, causing a scramble around the net, but Halak continues his dominance, showing he's a brick wall. Tavares goes around the back of the net and puts it in for the Islanders' first goal, going up 1, his 31st goal of the year. Tavares again with the puck, plays it backwards toward Nick Leddy for the goal. It took the Islanders just 27 seconds to score on the power play with a 2-goal lead. With time winding down in the first, and mess around the net of the Islanders allows the Predators' Colin Wilson to score and cut the lead to 1. On to the third period here. The Islanders play it in, Nick Leddy shoots, and he scores for his second goal of the game, giving him a total of 9 on the season, and the Islanders a 2-goal lead. Predators play it in, it out quick for a quick shot outside by Mike Ribeiro, goes past Halak, cutting the lead to 1 for the Islanders. This is Ribeiro's 13th goal of the season. Predators again on the attack, and the Islanders defenders fall asleep, allowing a goal from Craig Smith, his 21st goal of the season, tying up the game with 9 minutes left. Grabner fires the puck with a long rebound, allows Brock Nelson to score for the 18th of the year, and 1-goal lead for the Islanders, who hold on to win the game 4-3.
One of the biggest rivalries in all of sports took center stage Saturday night in Chapel Hill as Duke and North Carolina close out the ACC regular season. In the last 88 meetings, the two teams have each won 44 games. Doesn't get much better than that. A nice moment here between coaches as Coach K gets recognized for his 1,000th win in Chapel Hill by Roy Williams. Bryce Johnson got the Carolina crowd going off with this slam off the steal. Johnson was alive all first half. Here he is again with the hoop and the horn. The Tar Heel D was leading to points all first half as here was JP Tokoto causing the deflection and the steal, pushing it up court and finding a wide open Marcus Page for the spot up trifecta. The thing continued as another steal here led to this Bryce Johnson lay-in. What a pretty move by Johnson, high off the glass. We now cut to the second half. Second half started off with a scary moment for Duke's Tyus Jones as he converts the lay-in but hurts his back. Back spasms kept Jones out for a little before ultimately returning. With Duke down just one, Matt Jones bangs the three for the lead. Out of the timeout, here's Tyus Jones finding his backcourt mate, Quinn Cook, for the corner three. Yes, those two combined for 44 total points. However, Marcus Page and UNC would not go down easy, as here's Page connecting on a triple. After a Duke missed free throw, North Carolina with an opportunity, but Tyus Jones causes the turnover, sealing the 84-77 win for Duke.
When we come back, we'll update you on what happened with Marist sports this week, including highlights from the Marist men's lacrosse team and a MAC tournament update. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. It was a historic week for Marist sports. Jason Myers, former kicker for the Marist Red Foxes from 2009 to 2012, has signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars this past Tuesday, becoming the third Red Fox ever to sign an NFL contract. Myers holds records for the longest field goal in program history and the most career points by a kicker. Siobhan Lewis, senior standout in All-MAC second team, became the all-time leading scorer in Marist history, passing Steve Smith, who held the record for over 3 decades. Lewis accomplished the feat in the first round of the MAC tournament against a tough Quinnipiac team. He finished his career with 2,119 points, which is the 6th highest total in MAC history. Madeline Blaze, junior All-MAC first team, became the 22nd member and the 5th woman in program history to score 1,000 points on Friday night. She is averaging 16.3 points per game, heading into the finals later this afternoon. Marist women's lacrosse lost a home non-conference foe, Hofstra, 12-8 this past weekend. Despite the loss, junior captain Kara McHugh finished with 3 goals on just 8 shots. The Red Foxes stand at 2-2 on the season and look to snap their losing ways in their next game against the Binghamton Bearcats next Saturday, March 14th.
After a disappointing loss to Stony Brook on Wednesday in their home opener, the Marist men's lacrosse team looked to bounce back against High Point on Saturday in a thrilling matchup that came down to the wire. Marist took it right to High Point, jumping out in front to a 3-1 lead. Marist midfielder Mike Billy was dominating, scoring a stunning over-the-shoulder shot. Marist took it right, and here again, Bigley adds his second of 3 goals with a long-range effort. Marist defense was strong early, and most of that can be credited to Marist goalie Dave Scarcello, who had a career 19 saves, and none of this was more impressive than the foot save. In the second half, High Point started to getting into the game and putting pressure on the Red Foxes, which turned into goals. The Marist defense was dealing with pressure well, but High Point just kept coming. High Point fought back from a 10-6 deficit to make it 10-9 with one of Don Lomas' 3 goals. Marist's goal was under siege, but Scarcello came up big, making key saves in the clutch moments. On the ensuing possession, Mike Bigley shot the ball, giving life to High Point. But once again, Scarcello made a massive save, preserving the 1-goal advantage. In the end, Marist was able to hold on to a 10-9 thrilling contest, improving their record to 3-1 on the season.
Reporter John Fernero was up in Albany, New York this week for the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference Men's and Women's Basketball Champions. Here's his biggest takeaways from the weekend as he waits for the finals later today.
Here at the MAC Basketball Tournament in Albany, New York, I'm LTCC sports reporter John Fernero. It's been an exciting weekend in Albany leading up to the championship games later on today. Between the 11 teams who participated in the MAC tournament, only one team could come out victorious for both the men's and women's. On the men's side, we've seen some pretty exciting things from special players and teams, including our own here at Marist. The Marist Red Foxes upset the 6th seed Quinnipiac Bobcats in the first round of the tournament 80-74. Senior forward Siobhan Lewis recorded a double-double of 26 points and 11 rebounds. Quinnipiac forward Kwasme Drame had a monster night as he recorded 27 points and 23 rebounds, 1 rebound short of tying the MAC record. Like Marist basketball head coach Mike Maker said after the game, the Red Foxes had no answer for the 6'9 forward who was unstoppable. In a real impressive first-round performance, Iona guard A.J. English scored a game-high 32 points against Siena. It was essentially a home game for Siena here in the Times Union Center, but English quieted the crowd with a pull-up three-pointer at the end of the game to clinch the win for the Gales. After the game, Iona head coach Tim Cluse stated that several NBA scouts were here to see English perform. The women's basketball MAC finals are set for today at 4:30 p.m. The number 2 seeded Marist Red Foxes will match up against the 1st seeded Quinnipiac Bobcats. These teams will meet up for the 3rd time this season after the Bobcats had defeated the Marist Red Foxes by 18 points both times they played earlier in the season. But Marist is coming off arguably their best game of the season after defeating Fairfield 67-50. The Bobcats will not take this game lightly as they look to knock off the dominant Red Fox team that has won 8 consecutive MAC titles. On the men's side, the top-seeded Iona Gales will face the number 3 seed Manhattan Jaspers in a rematch of last year's finals. The Jaspers took home the trophy last season, but this year they'll have their hands full with the Gales' impressive scorer A.J. English and MAC Player of the Year David Lowery. The game is set to be broadcasted on ESPN2 at 9 p.m. That's going to do it for me here up in Albany. With LTCC Sports, I'm John Fernero.
Terrific week of college basketball up in Albany this week. Thank you, John. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, busy week with Hudson Valley Sports and an 8-year-old hockey brawl. You're watching LTCC Sports. Back after this.
Welcome back to LTCC Sports. Middletown High School boys basketball team dominated the Section 9 AA title against Valley Central this past weekend at SUNY Orange. Middletown, as the heavy favorite, closed the 70-59 victory with an outstanding record of 19-2 this season. The top-seeded Middies will continue on an opening round of the Class AA state tournament tomorrow night against the Horseheads. Arlington High School football standout signed with the college at Brockport State University at New York recently. Senior running back Austin Green signed his national letter of intent at the school to continue his collegiate playing career. Green rushed for 1,133 yards and 12 touchdowns for the Admirals, leading the team into the Section 1 Class AA championship game.
Two Russian hockey teams take problems in youth sports to the next level. To the next level when a brawl breaks out during the handshake line at the end of the game. What you might find even harder to believe is that this was a youth game and there are 8-year-olds going at it. The refs try to end the fight before it begins, but it's too late. The teams are already riled up and engaging blows. It's unclear what started it, but what is clear is that these little tykes would not yield. They were brawling like they were pros.
And that's all we have for you today, all this week. For Brendan DeAngelis and myself, Stephen Dwyer, thank you for joining us. Tune in next morning at 10 for another installment of LTCC Sports.